কৃপা করি করো তারে বৃন্দাবনবাসী কৃপা করি করো তারে বৃন্দাবনবাসী নমো নমো তুলসী কৃষ্ণ প্রেয়সী নমো নমো তুলসী কৃষ্ণ প্রেয়সী নমো নমো মোর বিলাস বিলাস কুঞ্জ দিও বা বিলাস কুঞ্জ দিও নয়নে হরিব সদা যুগল রূপরাশি নয়নে হরিব সদা যুগল রূপরাশি নিবেদন দার সখীরানুগত করো নিবেদন দার সখীরানুগত করো সেবায়াধিকার দিয়ে পুরনি জদাসী সেবায়াধিকার দিয়ে পুরনি জদাসী দীন কৃষ্ণ দাসে কয় জয় নম রাহ দীন কৃষ্ণ দাসে কয় জয় নম রাহ শ্রী রাধা গোবিন্দ প্রেমে সদা যেন বাসি শ্রী রাধা গোবিন্দ প্রেমে সদা যেন বাসি নমো নমো তুলসী কৃষ্ণ প্রেয়সী নমো নমো তুলসী কৃষ্ণ প্রেয়সী নমো নমো अन्निकानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि 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 सन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे आनि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्राणसन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे आनि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्राणसन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे आनि कानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च अनीतानि प्राणसन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय तुलसी महारानी 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 जय वृंदे जय वृंदे जय वृंदे जय श्री वृंदे जय वृंदे जय वृंदे जय वृंदे जय श्री वृंदे वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य विष्णु भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य विष्णु भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य विष्णु भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य विष्णु भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य विष्णु भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसीदेव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य विष्णु भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो विष्णु भक्ति प्रदायिनी तुलसी महारानी की जय। Want to sing? Prabhupada? You want to cut that? Yeah, thank you, Prabhupada. श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा। श्री गुरु चरण पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा। बंद मोई सावधान माते बंद मोई सावधान माते। जहरा प्रसादे भाई ए भवा तोरिया जाई। कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहा ते। कृष्ण प्राप्ति होए जहा होते। गुरुमुख पद्म वाक्या चित्तते कोरीब आकिया। गुरुमुख पद्म वाक्या चित्तते कोरीब आकिया। और ना कोरी हो मन आशा। और ना कोरी हो मन आशा। श्री गुरु चरण रति ऐसे उत्तम गति। जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा। जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा। चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से। चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से। दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो। दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो। प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते। प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते। वेद गाय जहरा चरितो। वेद गाय जहरा चरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना हा हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोहे पद छाया हा हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोहे पद छाया एबे जात घुष त्रिभुवाना एबे जात घुष त्रिभुवाना शिल प्रभुपाद पतित पावाना शिल प्रभुपाद पतित पावाना जय प्रभुपदा 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 प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चातादिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
I don't know. You are not singing, right? No. जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। कि बजयो जय गौरचंदे आरदिगो शोभा की बजयो गौरचंदे आरदिगो शोभा जानवी तत्ववाणी जगमान लोभा जानवी जगमान लोभा कि बदखी निता चा भमे गधधारा की बदक्षी निताय चांद भमे गधधारा निकटे अद्वैत श्रीनी वस छत्रधारा निकट कि बबोसी आचे गौरचा रत्न सिंहासने कि बबोसी आचे गौरचा रत्न सिंहासने आरती करे न ब्रह्मा आदि देव गणे आरती करे न कि बनर हरि आदि कोरी चमर दुलाया कि बनर अमरधु संजय मुकुंद वसु घोष आदि गया संजय कि बशंग बाजे गंड बाजे बाजे करताला कि बशंक कि बशंक बाजे
गंड बाजे बाजे करताला की बशंगा मधुरा मृदंगा बाजे परमा रसाला मधुरा मृदंगा किब शंग बाजे गंड बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंग बाजे गंड बाजे शंग बाजे गंड बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंग बाजे गंड बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंग बाजे गंड बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे नित्य गौर हरि बो हरि बो हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बो नित्य गौर हरि बो हरि बो हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बो नित्य गौर हरि बो हरि बो हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बो नित्य गौर हरि बो हरि बो हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल कि बहु कोड़ी चंद्र जीनी मदन जाला की बाबू गाला देशवाना माला खोरे ज्वलमाला गाला देशे वनमाला खोरे जलमाला कि बशिवा सुख नारदा प्रेमे गदगाधा कि बशिवा सुख नारदा प्रेमे गदगाधा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरारा संवादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरारा संवादा कि बजयो जय गौरचंदे आरती गो शोभा कि बजयो आरती को शोभा जानवी तत्ववाणी जगमान लोभा जा जग गौरांगे आरती ग शोभा जग जन मना लोभा गौरांगे आरती गौरांगे आरती ग शोभा जग जन मना लोभा गौरांगे आरती ग शोभा जग जन मना लोभा जग जन मना लोभा मना लो जग जन मना लोभा नित्य गौर हरि बो हरि बो हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बो नित्य गौर हरि बो Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhi Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Jai Radha Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar Radhe, Radha Shama Sundar Radhe, Jai Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Radha Shama Sundar Radhe, Jai Jagannatha, Jai Jagannatha, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannatha, Jai Jagannatha, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Guru Premanande.
Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahans Pararaja Kacharya Ashtotar Rishishman, His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki, Iskans and Stapa Kacharya, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namachar Haridas Thakur ki, Prem Sikaho, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Radha Krishna, Gop Govana Shamakund, Radha Kund, Giri Govardhana ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Ayodhya Dham ki, Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Ganga Mai ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Radha Sham Sundar ki, Shri Jagannath Subhadra Baladeva ki, Shri Gauranatai ki, Samaveda Bhakta Brinda ki, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Want to sing that? Would you like to sing that song?
Namaste Narasingaya Namaste Narasingaya Prahlad Lal Daine Prahlad Lal Hiranyakase Purvaksha Srila Kantan Kayane Ito na sringo parato na sringo Yato yato yalita go na sringo Bahana sringa rudaya na sringo Narasringa mahim saralam prapade भावाकार कमलवहे काम आभूत श्रृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिरो अनविंगा केशवदीपा नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे कर कर कमल वहे काम आभूत श्रृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिरो अनविंगा केशवदीपा नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे काव कर केशवदीपा नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदीपा जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय जय नरहरि जय नरहरे जय नरहरे जय नरहरे जय जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज ललिता गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल ललिता गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद जय जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद नरसिंह भगवान की, प्रहलाद महाराज की, प्रभुपाद की।
Hare Krishna. So we request all the Prabhujis, this area, and Matajis to the right, Prabhujis to my left. So please everybody moves forward. I request all our youths to please come in the front. Here there is a lot of area. There's still a lot of room here. Please move forward, please. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. So we request all the guests present, please be here 100%. Please turn your phones off or on vibrate mode. If you have small children who need your help, attention, please take care of them, preferably outside, because they will need your attention more than here in the temple. There is a sound outside also, so you can hear. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here fully present. It's our honor and pleasure. We've been dreaming about this particular setting that we have His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada's direct disciples who met Srila Prabhupada face to face, who talked to him, who had his personal company, really closer. They saw, they felt Prabhupada very closely. His Divine Grace is present amongst us also. So today we were hoping we will, if you notice, we have 7 chairs. So we were hoping we'll have 7, but our karma is not so pure yet. We still have to do more tapasya, some seva to Srila Prabhupada. There were 9 disciples of His Divine Grace. They were here for last 2-3 days, but some of them had to go back to the airport, and they had intense meetings for last 2 days, actually 3 days, 2.5 days. So some of them also need a little bit of rest. They have done so much for His Divine Grace, and they're also they need a little more rest after these meetings. But we have the best of the best also, so that's also something. Sometimes you have to wait for the best. So I have the pleasure to introduce our dear Brahmatirtha Prabhuji on my left. Brahmatirtha Prabhuji is Srila Prabhupada's disciples call him Brahma with loving gesture. He really has taken role of Lord Brahma to create great harmony and synthesis among our ISKCON movement, among our very senior Vaishnavas who are very scientific minded, but also very spiritually elevated. So to bring that synthesis together, Prabhuji has taken many steps. I saw him work in action in the last 2.5 days, how with his full heart dedication, he was there in those meetings. So he's presently living in Alachua. He's heading the Bhakti Vedanta Science. Bhaktivedanta Institute. It's a scientific community that actually explains Srila Prabhupada's the science behind Krishna consciousness from Srila Prabhupada's books. So Prabhuji is heading that particular committee of ISKCON. And I was amazed. I was reading a little bit upon his bio that some of our devotees are very dedicated to Krishna. And we have very little time to go out. But he's also on the planning board of Gainesville Township. So that's amazing that our devotees are giving their very pure heart and instructions to the community wherever they live, especially to be on the planning board. That's a big job. How many of you have read the book Perfect Question, Perfect Answers? Many of you, exalted, Gyanis. Thank you. So in that book, you see there are a lot of question answers. That was one of the books that struck me in the beginning in my journey to Krishna consciousness. And there is a personality in discussion with Prabhupada. His name is Bob. Bob is asking question, and Prabhupada is answering. And guess what? Who's Bob? Brahma Tirtha Prabhu. We usually, after initiation, we usually don't take the karmi name. It's kind of gone, history. But this is history in books. So Prabhuji's name is Bob Kohn from the material sense. And his Brahmatirtha Prabhu, his divine grace, has given him this wonderful name. So let's welcome Prabhuji by chanting 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And then to my right, His Grace Khandadi Prabhu. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Khandadi Prabhuji is the senior-most disciple, one of the senior-most disciples of His Divine Grace in the UK. He's been on BBC radio channels many times talking to the whole European world about vegetarianism. He's a great propounder of vegetarianism. How many of you know our Bhaktivedanta Manor in the UK? That's our biggest temple in Europe, other than Radhadesh. Prabhuji has actually, there were some issues many years ago with the manor. We were at the verge of losing that temple. There were a lot of complaints from the, Prabhuji single-handedly fought that whole battle and brought that temple back to ISKCON. We're supremely grateful. They're here amongst us, sharing their hearts, sharing their personal interactions with His Divine Grace. So without further delay, we would like them to start. They will tell us some jokes also. They have many wonderful jokes. So, and then there will be some question answer. So please have your questions ready. They'll be very happy to answer their interactions with His Divine Grace. Thank you very much.
Devakinanda and we on?
1 second.
Okay.
I can use that. We've been having a meeting the last 2 days. We had people fly in from Australia, England, California to work on the planetarium project in Mayapur, India. And this was a good central point to meet. And the ISKCON of Central Jersey decided to host us, and we had a meeting room nearby. We never expected, we expected wonderful hospitality, but this went way beyond what we ever could imagine, with all the snacks arranged and meals that were so good, and one of our devotees on a highly restricted diet and special cooking and a projector in every detail. I mean, this is Vaishnava hospitality at its best, and then twice that. So we thank you very much. I'm with the Bhaktivedanta Institute, Nakandadis, with our sister project, the Science Philosophy Initiative in UK. And for those of you who may have read, anybody here read Sariputa's books, science books? He was the foremost, he passed on, but the foremost scientist in the movement, a brilliant scholar. And he wrote books on on the mysteries of the sacred universe, how, we'll talk about these things tonight. And he wrote books on Vedic cosmology, God and science. There's several books he wrote, and I also have a copy of Perfect Questions, and we'd like to present to Devaki Nandana and Madhu Pandit a set of these books for your temple library, as our small token of appreciation for the overwhelming hospitality we received. Yeah, thank you. There's a. Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge two of our scientist colleagues who are in back, but I have to leave for the airport soon, Tamraparni and Stita D. Mooney. Stita D. Mooney is a professor in Gainesville, Florida. He teaches at 2 different colleges. He has a PhD in the history of science, a remarkable scholar. He came to the meeting. Tamraparni is a brilliant analyst and has analyzed a lot of the science which the Bhaktivedanta Institute does. They came up to help us with the meeting, and I want to acknowledge and appreciate my good friends. They would join us here speaking, but they have to head to the airport momentarily. So acknowledge it. Thank you very much. And finally, I can't give all the names because they kind of blurred in my head, even though I was introduced, but sometimes the brain doesn't retain. But the many devotees who came out and brought us prasadam and served and did way, way beyond what we all deserve and expected. So all of them who came and served and helped us, we give you our heartfelt thanks and appreciation many times over, and wish you all blessings in your own devotional life.
Hare Krishna.
So, just so I get to know the audience a little better, who is here for the first time? Anybody? Okay. Is anybody here for the last time? Okay, so we got an in-between then. We're safe. Okay. Where do we begin, Akandadi? I want to get a little introduction, gifts out of the way.
I think just give a little flavor of your interactions with Prabhupada, and then we'll ask for, you can ask questions.
Is this one working? Yes. I'll put this one down. Okay, here, we got it. You want to begin with your interaction?
Yours is so much more. You start, because my interaction was later.
Okay, so in 1971, I joined the Peace Corps and went to India. I had seen the devotees chanting in New York, the mantra stuck in my head, and I said, I have to go to India to understand what the basis of this is. Because at those times, there were many gurus after Prabhupada came. It started becoming a fashion to come and say, you're God, I'm God, we're all God. Quite a bit of that was going on. And the New York Daily News used to run a centerfold once a week of the latest guru to pop off a plane. That was several years after Prabhupada. But I was trying to figure out, how do you know who's who? I said, I'm going to have to go to India. And my uncle owned a clothing store at 123 Watchung Avenue in Plainfield, just down the street. And so the whole family worked there. And when I was about 12 years old, for the briefest time, a suit became popular in America. Just for months, it was a fad that faded. And can anybody guess what the suit was? It was the Nehru suit. And I told my uncle I have to have one. But he wouldn't let it happen. But my aunt, who was very generous, made sure I had a Nehru suit. I just don't know why I insisted on a Nehru suit. But I think when I went to India, I understood I had been there before, previous life. So that was my connection between Plainfield, New Jersey, and wanting to go to India. Then, when I went to India, I was assigned the most progressive, advanced, most tolerant state in India to be a high school teacher. That was Bihar. You all know I'm joking. Okay. And any Biharis here that I just insulted? Ah, I succeeded. Thank you. Okay. Hare Krishna. Did I get it right? Oh, okay. So there's always a danger of saying that. But I loved my experience in Bihar. It was wonderful. But my answer of my spiritual quest, I couldn't get answers. I would go to temples and mosques and even churches and say, can you tell me, is Krishna God? And tell me something. And I couldn't get any straight answers. I was frustrated, very frustrated. And then I was in Calcutta. I had gone there, nearest major city. So I went there to visit, and I ran into some devotees. And they said, we're doing food relief for Bangladesh refugees. They just had a war with India, Pakistan. And would you like to go? And this was at Mayapur. Now, Mayapur is a whole city now. That time, it was just rice fields that had just been purchased. And it was a very, very holy place. It had been lost and rediscovered. I didn't know any of this. I just heard there was a food relief program I'd join. And the land had been purchased by Prabhupada's disciples weeks before. So Prabhupada said, we're going to have a festival, the Gaur Purnima, in February. And I said, so I went there, but they just purchased the land, and there were 70 very young. I was 22. That was the average age of the devotees. There were 70 very enthusiastic Hare Krishna devotees there. And when you get enthusiastic Hare Krishna devotees, and there's one person for them to explain Krishna to, that was me. I was the only guest. It can be a little disconcerting. Can you imagine your most zealous Sankirtan devotee here? Then you get 70 of them, and you're the only new guest. Just think about that for a minute. So Prabhupada invited me into his hut. There was a little thatched hut. It's still there as a memorial. Has anyone seen that? Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir in Mayapur, so you know that. That was the only building in Mayapur. The rest we were just staying in tents. And he invited me in and said, do you have any questions? So I said, For many years, I had many, many questions. I grew up under some odd circumstances, spent many hours in the woods meditating, trying to understand what life and death are about. So I was thinking, wow, I might be at the feet of a real guru. And he may know some answers, because I had respected the devotees. I liked the mantra. So I thought in my mind, let me ask questions not in a challenging way, but just so I can learn. And then later on, I can say, I agree or disagree, but I'm not going to challenge him. What use is that? I want to learn something. Then I can digest it later, ruminate on it. It says in the Gita, just approach the spiritual master. I did. Inquire submissively. I did. Render service. I was doing the food relief. And the spiritual master can give you knowledge because he has seen the truth. So quite accidentally, I hit the formula of the Gita. And Prabhupada was very pleased, and he talked to me for about 3 days. And his secretary, after the first conversation, the first session he didn't record, said, this is interesting, started recording it. And later Prabhupada named the book, and Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, and the BBT published it, which is now in like 40 languages or something. So it was like an odd experience. In my mind, it's as if it always happened to someone else, but I guess I'm someone else. So the question I get asked most often is, what was it like being with Prabhupada? So I'll tell you one story of what it was like. After I came back from India, I was already engaged before I went to India. Now, I've been married 47 years, but I was already engaged. And my poor fiancée, when I came back, she had no idea I was mumbling on beads and, following principles, and I had become weird, really weird. And so what happened? But we were still getting married. We were committed to each other, and I was of the mindset you never try to change, you don't try to mold your spouse. Somehow I intuitively knew it. Any of you who have tried to mold your spouse will have learned or will learn you don't do that. It doesn't work. We're individuals, and we have to respect that. So anyway, I came back, and then she met Prabhupada. And she would never chant Hare Krishna even, because she would go to the temple with me because we're engaged and then married, and she wanted to be with me, but she just had never been a hippie, and most of the devotees joined, they were hippies, and she really didn't want to surrender. She just wanted to observe. And then she met Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was so charming. As she left the room after a little conversation with Prabhupada, she turns and says, Hare Krishna. And with that, she became a devotee. There was that power. So, nevertheless, I was ready to get initiated after a while, and she wasn't. It was going to take a while. And I didn't want to get initiated until she was ready, to not discourage her. And in those days, you generally got initiated within 6 months. And here I am, 2 years and not initiated. And I'm in graduate school, which is really weird. People join the temple then. Now, of course, we encourage people to be in school. So some of the devotees were really understanding. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, especially. Now he's, of course, then he was a grahasta, and I used to stay overnight at his house, and he worked for Clairol, and I'd go meet him for lunch. And other devotees really nice, and some devotees were kind of heavy on my case. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? Everyone gets initiated within 6 months. Something wrong with you? So I started thinking, young devotees, not all mature. I started thinking, there's something wrong with me. Something seriously wrong with me. Because sometimes I still think that, but that's a different story. So something seriously wrong. And so Prabhupada showed up at the New York temple, and I was thinking, I don't want Prabhupada to even see me, because here I am, it's 2 years, I'm not initiated yet. You know, I was 74 then, I met him in 72, we spent so much time. So I was standing in the hallway, there's the old Henry Street temple, and he's going to round the corner to leave his room to walk in the temple. So I offer obeisances before he rounds the corner so he wouldn't have to see me. I was just somehow in that funky mood. So I offered obeisances. And then I said the prayers as slow as you can say it. Namah, Om, Vishnu, like that. So by the time I finished, he'd be in the temple room. Then I'd stand up and just go in the back. Well, somehow Prabhupada recognized me. How do you recognize me when I'm offering obeisances? But he recognized me. And he stood next to me, but I didn't know it. So he stood there and waited till I was done. And then when I stood up, there's Prabhupada this far from me. And he said, "Nice to see you," and gave me a hug. Now, Prabhupada wasn't a particularly hugger, he wasn't a particular hugger, but it was what I needed to understand that I was doing the right thing. He didn't have to say any words to me. He just gave me a hug and said, "Nice to see you." Later on, I didn't believe that happened. And a friend of mine, Tosa, said to me, "By the way, wasn't that amazing that Prabhupada gave you a hug?" I was saying, okay, it wasn't an illusion. So some people ask me, what's it like to be with Prabhupada? It's like to know him. He was the supreme personalist. Now, as the movement got larger and larger, he couldn't deal with individuals. I think I was the last one to join the movement that Prabhupada was able, on a personal level, spend a lot of time with. A lot of time. Because I was the only guest, like I said. Because by 72, 73, it was a worldwide movement. George Harrison had recorded the song. The Beatles had basically endorsed Krishna. It was just taking off all over the world. Prabhupada had so many thousands and thousands of disciples. But so after that, it was harder to get to be with Prabhupada. But you read the books like Mukunda Maharaj's books, or the recent book by Yogeshwar, Vishaka's book, any of these early biographies, you'll get the flavor of who Prabhupada was. This intense personalist. He was an intense personalist, treated each person as a person, because ultimately he saw the spark of the divine within everyone, and he didn't have a shred of impersonalism in it. We all tend to be impersonal. We objectify people we know. We objectify sometimes our spouses, our children. We objectify our friends. Prabhupada didn't. He subjectified us. He saw us as people. So that's what it was like to be with Prabhupada. Many more stories can be told, but I wanted to begin with this one because I'm always asked, give a flavor. So I've tried to give you a little bit of a flavor. Now we'll turn it over to my dear friend Akandadi. Now, not enough was said about who Akandadi is and what he's done, so I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. But he was the stalwart, as mentioned, for the Bhaktivedanta Manor is the major project in England. And the town wanted to take away our access roads. And he fought a campaign, a human rights campaign. And he'll tell you more about it because I think they'd like to hear it. And eventually we won, which was an amazing battle. But behind the scenes, he's been the stalwart, the people in England turn to when they have a question they don't understand, because he always kept this steady faith and gravitas and just this relaxed, I'm going to depend on Krishna. So, we're going to talk a little more about the project we're doing together, but I'll let him speak about that first because I've spoken too long already.
No.
And now, Akandadi Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Brahma. Actually, we could quite happily listen to Brahma for the rest of the evening. I was born and brought up in Ireland, in Belfast. And I was a teenager when what we called the Troubles began. Now, the Troubles, everyone has troubles.
Excuse me a second. My wife just texted, the audio's not working on my airport TV, whoever is a technical person here.
And we have many technical people
thank you.
We've met.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'll continue.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. So many people, we all have troubles, but the troubles basically meant bombs and the factions between the Catholic community and the Protestant community in Belfast just fighting one another. And I was going to school in the centre of Belfast, and we'd be sitting in classrooms listening to bombs going off around the city, because we were only a couple of 100 yards from the most bombed building in Europe, the Europa Hotel. And if a bomb went off, the teacher would say, "Hey, you there, go down to King Street and check it out." Couldn't do that these days. But that same year, something else happened which had more impact on me. And that was the Hare Krishna mantra, released on record by George Harrison, helping the devotees. And when that came out, we just thought, that's magical. That is just beautiful. And we know the Mahamantra has power. And if we hear it, and if we're attracted by it, watch out. Because it's Krishna. The holy name of Krishna is Krishna. And if you're attracted to the holy name, you're attracted to Krishna. And if you show even a little attraction to Krishna, Krishna will make all the arrangements to gather you to him. So over the next few years, my life was just a series of arrangements by Krishna, thinking this poor little kid, needs some help. And one of the most significant days, I was studying for my final exams at school. I was alone in the house, and there was a knock on the door. This is in the suburbs of Belfast, a place where no one should go. And it was a devotee. And he was just knocking on the doors, trying to find someone who would open the door, and in Belfast that would not have been easy, and who would listen to him talk about Krishna. So I was just amazed. This effulgent devotee was there, and we talked for an hour or so, and he gave me a beautiful book called the Sri Isopanishad. And I remember when I turned it over, and at the back there was a little picture of Srila Prabhupada. And I knew at that moment I'd found my spiritual master. I later found out that that devotee was part of a team of devotees who was visiting the town, and they were supposed to be going out onto the streets, doing Sankirtan and distributing books. But they thought that this devotee was so spaced out, so much in Maya, so where they thought his consciousness wasn't up to it. They thought, at least you should go and knock on a few doors. But when I met that devotee, I saw this effulgent being. He actually was shining. I had never seen someone with an aura before. And after we had spoken and I saw him walk down the drive, it was in this huge bubble of light. I was just amazed by him. So it always struck me that sometimes we may make judgments about other devotees and think, oh, this person's very advanced and this one's not so advanced, or this one's not as enthusiastic or not as committed as they could be. But actually, all devotees are amazing. They're all very special beings. You're all effulgent. And anyone, in whatever capacity they have, can do something to bring Krishna consciousness to another. I then went on to study architecture at the university in Britain, at Bristol. And again, devotees kept visiting and popping up here, there, and everywhere. And at a certain point, I just came to the realization. It was like Krishna speaking inside. He said, look, you know what's important. It's now time to go and do it. So something happened. I decided, okay, enough of university, enough of my scholarship, jack it all in, and I went to join the temple. And I hitchhiked from Bristol up to Bhaktivedanta Manor. I had never been to a temple before, but I was coming to join the temple for the rest of my life. So I met, I went in there and met a devotee, and he said, well, if you like, you can stay for a few days. And I went, a few days? I've just planned to spend the rest of my life. I was hoping to stay a little longer. But the devotees were very kind and gave me that opportunity. And that was in 1975. And just a month later, we had a visit by Srila Prabhupada. And it was a very short visit, but wonderful for Prabhupada to come. And we all got to go on the traditional morning walk at Bhaktivedanta Manor, which is over the fields and round down the lanes and beautiful. And it was just amazing to be walking with Srila Prabhupada chanting japa. And then Prabhupada gave an incredible class on Prakriti and Purusha. But I wanted to just, because we only got a few minutes today, I wanted to talk about Prabhupada's next but one. He visited again in 76 and spent quite a bit of time with us. But his visit in 1977, I think, was the most important. At that time, Prabhupada, we knew he'd been ill in India for many, many months. And it was absolutely crazy to think that Prabhupada should travel in the state that he was in. But Prabhupada wanted to visit the West one more time. He wanted to come to Britain, but then he wanted to come on here to America to visit New Vrindavan, to show us how to live in reliance of Krishna. When he arrived at London, we knew he was ill, but we weren't prepared for what we witnessed. Prabhupada's body had lost all its muscle. There was nothing left on his body. The skin was touching his bones. The doctor who came to see him after the flight said, anyone else would be screaming in pain. But Prabhupada showed no discomfort. He was just very, very happy, and he was beaming at us, just pleased to be with the devotees. And we knew he was there to give us final instructions. And I'll give you a couple of them. One time, Prabhupada was in his room upstairs at the manor, and he called the leaders of the temple, Vichitaviri and Jayatirtha, please, bring them here. So they rushed in, wondering what Prabhupada was going to say. And Prabhupada said, so how are the cows? Prabhupada was concerned for our herd of cows. We have a beautiful cow protection program at the manor we had in those days. And up to the present day, it's amazing. Then a little while later, he called the devotees again. They came running. What does Prabhupada want? And Prabhupada said, are the devotees getting nice prasadam? Now imagine, Prabhupada could tell us any instructions from Srimad Bhagavatam, all the highest philosophy. But he was concerned, are the devotees getting nice prasadam? This is what Brahmatirtha was talking about. Prabhupada's personalism, his care for each and every devotee. We would bring Prabhupada down from his rooms in a palanquin. And we'd carry it down, and we had to push his vyasa a little further back so that we could set the palanquin in front of it. Prabhupada wouldn't let us sing Guru Puja to him because his body was so delicate that he explained to his secretary that he couldn't handle the emotions that he was feeling when his disciples would sing the Guru Puja song to him. So we would just have kirtan. And the temple was packed. We had devotees came from all over Europe there. So Prabhupada, you have to appreciate, Prabhupada could not move a muscle. But he would just sit there, and we were having this kirtan. And at one point in the kirtan, Prabhupada just went like this, if you can see. Just that. That was his message to us. And what did that message mean? Dance, jump, and everyone hit the ceiling. And kirtan exploded because that's what Prabhupada wants to see. He wants to see the devotees completely absorbed in chanting and dancing. Yes, it's very nice coming from the deities. Dance. Be ecstatic. Be completely absorbed in the holy name. That's what Prabhupada is giving us. You know, Prabhupada often said, I have nothing else to offer you. I've only got the holy name. You take it and really absorb yourself in it. It's not just another mantra. It's not just another song. This is Krishna. And when you absorb yourself in the holy name, you are with Krishna. And when Prabhupada saw us dancing, this beautiful smile spread all over his face. And Prabhupada was showing us, this is what I want of my movement. Devotees all coming together, chanting the holy name and dancing in ecstasy together. Unfortunately, just after that, Prabhupada's health took even a turn. And myself and some of the other devotees had to arrange for him to go into the hospital, local hospital in Watford, and to go over there and see Srila Prabhupada in the hospital was, it's one of the worst kind of visions, you know, I have. And then we had to make arrangements for Srila Prabhupada to return back to India. So he didn't get the chance to continue his trip on to America. But of course, being the last place that Srila Prabhupada visited in the Western world, Bhaktivedanta Manor, and a place that was very dear to him, was the reason that when years later, when the government wanted to close the temple simply because it had become too popular. That was the reason. We'd become too popular. Too many people were coming for festivals and Sundays. So they said, no, you should close it. It's more than we ever expected. And we said, no. If you're worried about access, we can make a new road. And they said, no, you haven't got the land. We're not going to give you permission, and so on. So for 10 years, we had to fight a campaign. And the highlight of that campaign was in 1994, when we had a march in London with 37,000 people. And 2 months later, we decided that was good fun. Let's try another one. So we had 8,000 people outside of the Houses of Parliament. And when the clock's Big Ben struck, bong, 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 3 o'clock, we all walked out into the centre of the street and sat down. And we closed off London for 90 minutes. Closed off. London came to a standstill. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but the police had to wade in and they were carrying the masses, you know, out of the way. And then as soon as they'd take him to the side of the road, they'd walk back into the road again. And there was just this continuous thing. But we wanted to demonstrate commitment, non-violence, and to show civil disobedience, that we were a community that actually believed in our rights. And then 2 years later, we managed to win the legal battle, which allowed us to create a new access into Bhaktivedanta Manor. And we knew that that was our key to allow further development of the manor. And at the moment, what's happening at the manor is a beautiful new community hall is being built and will be opened this time next year. So, but we still know that Bhaktivedanta Manor, although at the time a lot of the issue there was this is the most important shrine for Hindus in Britain. But Bhaktivedanta Manor isn't a Hindu shrine. It's more than that. Bhaktivedanta Manor is the home of our beloved deities, Radha Gokulananda, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman. And it is meant to be a focus, the spiritual focus for everyone, for all communities, for everyone of all backgrounds, anyone to come and feel this is their home. This is the place of sanctuary for them. This is the place of spiritual solace. This is the place where they are going to be nourished in their Krishna consciousness and will feel at home with all the other devotees. We want that in all our ISKCON temples, when someone comes in and they are sincerely looking for their spiritual life, they should feel, I have found my people. Not because of background, not because of culture, not because of anything else, not because of anything material, but because we recognize in each other's hearts, we each want to reconnect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. And we're willing to... And to do that, we are willing to surrender ourselves and follow the guidance and messages that we have received from His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
By the way, I did receive a text. It's all working fine now. So thank you for fixing that. After Prabhupada left London, he went to Vrindavan. And he passed on, of course, November 14th, 77. But a month before he passed on, he wanted his last major event occurred. And that was the first international conference on life comes from life. This was the Bhaktivedanta Institute, the science arm of the Krishna movement. And several of us, as included, went to speak at a science conference in which prominent scientists came and devotee scientists came, and we debated the issue, does life come from life or does life come from matter? And so I went to India, and when I got there, I was able to get into Prabhupada's room with one of the GBC men had just arrived. It was perfect timing. And so when he walked in, we walked in and Prabhupada saw the shocked look on our face. The Prabhupada we knew was the Prabhupada you see on the Vyasasana, this robust personality who on his morning walks, he was almost four times older than us and could walk twice as fast as us. And so to see Prabhupada emaciated and just, skin and bones, because he had technically diabetic kidney failure. He wasn't able to eat for a long time, very, very little. And he had to wear sunglasses in a dark room because the light hurt so much. So he walked in the room, and we're shocked to see him. And he turns to us and starts laughing, because Prabhupada had an intense sense of humor. In fact, a lot of what he said was kind of humorous, but went over our heads because we weren't ready for it. Now looking back and hearing his lectures, I said, boy, that's really funny. And even the whole Bhagavatam has a lot of jokes in it, but that's another matter. So, because the sages had a sense of humor. They'd play word games, but you need to know Sanskrit to see it. So we walked in the room, and we had that shocked look on our face. And Prabhupada starts laughing, and he says, I told you I'm not this body. Now you believe me? My body's gone, and I'm living in my bones. Will you now finally understand I'm not this body? And he starts just laughing. And it hurts to laugh, but he didn't care because he thought that was so funny. Then we did our science conference, and Prabhupada was too ill to go to the science conference. So every night he called the scientists, and we were in suits and ties. And the conference was actually in the courtyard of the school and the Krishna Balaram complex. So he'd call us in, and he'd say, tell me, what were their arguments and what were your arguments? What did they say, what you say? He wanted to know all the details. And so we walked in one evening, and his secretary, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, goes, Prabhupada, your scientists are here. Now, Prabhupada couldn't see that well at all. So he says they're wearing, this is Srup Damodar is here, and Sadaputta, and Madhava, and Brahmatirtha, and they're wearing suits and ties. So Prabhupada said, get them chairs. Now, India, more then than now, is a floor culture. There weren't a lot of chairs around. So they found a chair or two. So I think two of us sat on one chair, and somebody, I think, sat on another chair. Then the rest of us sort of sat like this, pretending we were on chairs, just halfway squatted, because Prabhupada couldn't see. We didn't know what to do. So we wanted to just please him. And then he wanted to know what happened. And we would tell him the stories, because this was a very exciting science conference with good debate and good things going on. One story that went over particularly well, there was one professor from New Delhi. We had professors from other places in the world. This professor from New Delhi, and he was working with liquid crystals. You've seen this, the toys, where you touch it and it changes colors, like a little disc, and you touch it, and it just changes all kinds of colors, called a liquid crystal. So he felt liquid crystals were the secret of life, because a little bit of input has great output, and that solves some of the informational problems of life. It was ridiculous theory, but he was going on. He was going to win his Nobel Prize. So we told Prabhupada the story of his arguments, what our counter-arguments were. And then, to me, the best part was, after he spoke, there were questions, and one lady was raising her hand, and he wouldn't call on her. This could only happen in India, but he wouldn't call on her, this scholar. Finally, there's no hand left but hers, but he has to call on her. So she stands up. She says, I want you to know I'm his wife. And all the atheist nonsense he's saying, he still goes to the temple and prays. So, anyway, so then Prabhupada gave us his final instructions, and he wanted this Bhaktivedanta Institute to deal with the issues and defeat the atheistic mentality that life is just simply a product of soup and chemicals. You have an old chemical soup, and a lightning bolt comes, and amino acids form, and then next thing you know, it turns into you and I talking. And he said, it's too atheistic. It didn't matter if some evolution occurs or not. That's a different matter. But that life is different than matter was his point. So, just to give you the updated news on, we are doing the next version of Life Comes From Life Conference, January 18th in Gainesville, Florida. You're all invited. The name of the conference is, nowadays in 2019, we wouldn't call it Life Comes From Life. The modern version of it is Consciousness in Science. And we have devotee scientists coming from Australia, Russia, Europe, all over the world. And we have the 2 or 3 of the biggest scholars on consciousness have agreed to come to our humble conference. Stuart Hamroff, for 25 years, has ran the major conference on consciousness. And of course, their view of it boils down to they're trying to understand what is consciousness. And Akandati doesn't know it, but he's going to talk to you about it in a minute. Yeah, okay. And what really is consciousness? And it's a very important question. They obviously, I mean, no scientist nowadays, worth his salt, can claim to know what it is, because they don't. But they're looking at it from different angles. So we're doing this international conference on this topic. In England, we have the Bhaktivedanta Institute in Florida, and in England, Akandati has his Science and Philosophy Initiative, which is a parallel project, and we work together very closely. So I'm going to turn it over to Akandati now and let him speak a little on this topic, if you don't mind.
Thanks, Brahma. As was mentioned earlier, Brahmatirtha is Brahma. He is the creator, so he has created this conference, which yes. Which we're very pleased to be helping along with. Yeah, my background is in the philosophy of consciousness, because it's the most important aspect for anyone. Here's a big philosophical question to you all. Do you exist? Do you exist? Anyone out there? We got a live audience? What makes you convinced that you exist? What convinces you? What makes you think you exist? You feel stuff. You know, I am the person feeling the stuff that's going on inside me, isn't it? This is Descartes' meditation. I may get a lot of things wrong, but the one thing I know for certain is that I am the person having my thoughts. I am the person feeling the feelings inside me. What I think may be wrong or stupid, what I feel may be a mistake, but I am the person feeling those things. I exist as a person. And this is correct. We all know this. But modern science, particularly neuroscience and psychology, tells you a different story. It tells you that you are simply the brain. But here is something, I haven't time to get into it in great detail, but I'll just leave you with something to ponder. That inside your brain is simply electricity buzzing around, in the same way as electricity is moving through this microphone or in those light bulbs. It's electricity just moving from your brain. And when anything comes in through your senses, like light comes into your eye, what happens to it? It gets turned into electricity. Digital data, actually. Just digital data, like you might have in a computer. But if light comes into my eye, and it's only data in the brain, what do I experience inside? I experience a picture of forms, I can make out, and the images of what's going on. I can see colors in my mind, but my brain hasn't got colors, it's only got data. That is called the hard problem of consciousness. That what you experience is different and beyond what your brain has got. Therefore, you are experiencing stuff which your brain hasn't got. And therefore, you must be something different to your brain. This is the de facto proof from neuroscience that we, as the subject, the self, the person who is experiencing life within this body, is not the body, is not the brain, is not even the mind, but is the person who is experiencing all those factors. That's the simple truth behind it all. Now, the arguments that we have to develop in neuroscience go a lot further than that. But what we are trying to say is, you've got a science, physics, biology, all based on the idea that you are this body, you are this brain, you are just a physical thing, and that consciousness is something produced from matter. But you have no evidence for that. And in fact, all the evidence in neuroscience suggests the opposite. So all we are saying is, what if society changed its mind about this? What if we approach science by saying consciousness is the primary function? Consciousness is the primary form of reality. What difference would that make when you started to look at all the evidence within biology, in physics, in chemistry, in cosmology? You would discover far, far more. Our approach is we are not rejecting science. Rather, what we will show you is that all the scientific evidence that is good evidence demonstrates that life comes from life, that consciousness is not material, and that we will achieve more. Not just spiritually, but even materially we can achieve more. Think of the advancements, think of the technologies, think of what we could achieve if we had a new science based on consciousness as the primary form of reality. That's what our conference is about. So we are calling these folk to come. We will challenge their views. And we are calling all our devotees around the world. This is your opportunity. If you can, be with us in Gainesville. If you can't, tune in. Catch what's going on. Because if you have any interest in science and philosophy, if you've got any research work, if you have any qualifications in this, we will help you engage that talent in the service of Srila Prabhupada. Too many devotees compartmentalize their life. They think, I have my devotee life and I have my science life. And I can't put them together. I just have to switch off when I go to work and switch back into being a devotee when I go home. But we will show you that actually the two go together very well. We will help you not just resolve that in your own life, but show you how you can utilize your talents to help build the message to the world that they are not this body, they are pure spirit souls, and that the ultimate happiness and fulfillment for each soul is to be connected in devotional love to Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna.
We will cure your devotional schizophrenia. Now, I have some brochures, but I'll give them afterwards to Devakinanda to leave at the temple. I don't have them with me, but I'll give him later tonight. But anybody wants to know more, it's real easy to remember our webpage. This is Consciousness and Science, so it's CONSCI, C-O-N-S-C-I 19, CONSCI19.org. And all the information is there. CONSCI, Consciousness and Science, CONSCI19.org. So if anybody wants more information, you can just go to that webpage or see Devakinandana. He'll have our brochures about it. So at this point, I thought we'll go to Q&A.
Yeah, if they, I don't know if this, we've probably gone a bit over.
What time are we supposed to, we don't want to keep anybody from eating.
We were,
8. Okay, well, we'll end before then, because the last thing I want to do is keep people from dinner. Are there, right now would be a good time, are there any questions, answers, comments, criticisms, tomatoes to throw at us?
You have the opportunity to ask perfect question to the perfect recipient of perfect answers.
Yeah, go on,
yes.
please.
I want to ask you, can you tell us when did you get initiated?
76.
And how did you finally decide it?
Oh, well, I decided to get initiated way before. But then, and my wife was ready. I was waiting for her. But she was ready, chanting 16 rounds. I mean, we had had a kid by then. When you have a kid, it makes life complicated if you haven't noticed that. And we were at a temple in Houston. I was the life membership director and then vice president. And she had a lot of service. And then it was just a matter of finding the right time. And then Prabhupada was in New York for Rath Yatra, so we went there and got initiated.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Prabhu.
I have a question for Antradeep Prabhu. What was your parents' reaction when you dropped out of university, and what was the reaction to your new life?
I didn't.
Reaction by?
Of your parents when you dropped out of university?
I didn't drop out because when I was undergraduate, after I graduated, I went to India. And then afterwards, I actually went to graduate school. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But because I was, got married, then had a kid, my father kept thinking he's going to outgrow it. And then I come from a Jewish family. So when I got back from India, my father thought, there's a Yiddish word you may know because you live in Jersey called meshugana. Anybody know that word? It means crazy in the head. So my father was a really nice fellow, but I was a little crazy in the head. So he took me to see the rabbi. And he sat outside, and I went in to study, see the rabbi. Now, when I was in Hebrew school, the younger boy, I was actually serious about it because I wanted to, somehow I had the good fortune of wanting to know who God was since I can remember. So the rabbi talked to me for almost 2 hours. And then afterwards, he turned to my father and said, Charlie, leave him alone. He's doing a good job. And after that, my father was satisfied. So somehow, it worked out easy. Then when my kids went to Gurukula, my mother was there. They lived in New Jersey, Springfield. They lived before they passed on. And my sons were going to school in the Catskill Mountains, where our Gurukula was then. So my mother said, when they come home, if they have that hair on their head, it's too embarrassing. I'll put my head in the oven. Now, Jewish mothers tend to talk like that. I knew better because that only works in a gas oven, and we had an electric oven. So there was no harm could come. And my kids came home, and it all worked out to visit her, and it all worked out fine. And then my parents were kind of elderly, and 70, 80, late 70s, early 80s, my parents were. And I was visiting them, and I said to them, this was, around 1990, I said to them, I went to go to New York Rath Yatra, and I said to my parents, would you like to go to the Krishna parade? Now, I'd wanted to take my parents to India, such an important part of my life, but my older brother vetoed it. My parents were too frail then to go, and they were probably right. So then I was thinking, I'd like to, but my parents had been a few years before on the Achille Lauro cruise ship in the Mediterranean, and the cruise ship was hijacked by terrorists. So they were already very scared to go over the Achille Lauro thing. They were scared to go overseas. Even though they agreed, it didn't happen. So I was lamenting, but I understood. So I said to my parents jokingly, you want to go to a Krishna parade? And they said, yeah, why not? And they jumped in the car to my utter shock. And they went and pulled Lord Jagannath. My father was like 81, I think. And they pulled Lord Jagannath down Fifth Avenue. And at the end in Washington Square Park is a huge festival of India. So India came to them. So it worked out well. And then shortly after that, it was their time to pass on. So Krishna had made a very special arrangement I had very pious, nice parents. So he took good care of them. You want to answer that question, please?
Okay. Yeah, well, my parents flipped out entirely. Because I was there at university on a scholarship and done 2 years and was doing very well. So to suddenly have this change of heart that, nope, that's not what I want to do. I want to go and live in the temple. And Northern Ireland actually is not like the rest of the UK. Northern Ireland is a very serious Christian community, both Protestant and Catholic. And my family, we'd go to church every Sunday, and my dad would go a second time in the evening. And our whole life revolved around the social life of the church. In fact, the minister was my uncle. And we had several other ministers connected with the family and my relatives. So it was very much the identity. But I remember asking the Bible class teacher, this is probably the same time I was listening to the Hare Krishna mantra. I said, now you're telling us about life after death. What about life before birth? And she went, oh, I never thought of that. And I was very disappointed because I was thinking about that and I kind of wanted answers for things like that. And it seemed to be a very logical question, that if you're eternal, eternal means not just all the time into the future, but also all the time into the past. So my parents came over to try and rescue me and pull me back, but that didn't go very well. And there was many years where my parents were very antagonistic towards Krishna consciousness and thought the movement had stolen their kid. And it was one of those situations which was seriously hard for me. I knew what was right, I knew what I had to do, and I wasn't going to compromise what actually, Krishna had told me to do, which I was absolutely convinced of. But at the same time, a devotee never wants to cause any harm or pain to anyone else. So I did spend many, many years trying to rebuild the relationship and to assure my parents that it was all right, it was okay. And I remember one time my father then came to the temple on his own, to the manor, and we were kind of going around, and I got a chance to show him Prabhupada's books and talk a little bit about what we were doing. And my father actually had a great fondness for animals. So when we were walking past the temple and he saw the Godan box, the box for the donations for the cows, he reached into his pocket, pulled out a whole bunch of money and said, that's for the cows. Yeah. Very pious. So I took it that actually, although he knew my mother was more upset and he had to support her, he was thinking, this is not such a bad thing. He was appreciating that I'd followed my path towards God.
Any other questions up there? Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe a microphone, so otherwise it's hard for us to hear. Microphone's coming. Thank you.
I was going to say, before I came here, I was also listening to Sariputta Prabhu's lectures. They're so interesting, actually. 2 PhDs, 2 physicists who won Nobel Prizes in physics praised his work. And John Maynard Smith, one of the most famous evolutionary biologists, also said he was not only envious of his programming skills, but of his understanding of how the organelles actually work and how the mechanics of the cell, how complex they are. And Prabhupada said the BI was the most important. The BI was the most important thing, and he was ready to give unlimited funds for it.
What's your name, Prabhu?
Vishnu Jan Das.
Vishnu Jai. Sariputta was one of my closest friends since 76, 77, and unfortunately passed on a decade ago. And one of the most brilliant scientists aware. His lectures are on the Richard L. Thompson YouTube channel. And recently, all of his books, we just got the last book back in print this year. So all of his books are on Amazon, just Richard L. Thompson. They're all available. And we just gave a set of, didn't have all of them with me, but what we had, a set of books to the temple for their library. So if you want to know science and religion and you have questions, that's the place to go. or come to our conference and ask any questions you like. Have a good time. Besides that, all of you are in New Jersey. Our conference is in Florida. Our conference is in January. You get the picture. Yeah, okay. So just a little incentive there. But if you want to stay here in Jersey in January, that's your privilege. Okay. With that, and seeing no other questions, oh, we do have a question. Yes, ma'am. In the front here, young lady in the front. Nice group. Yeah. Oh, here in the front. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for your sharing of memories. It's always very precious to hear the personal impression of Srila Prabhupada. And thank you so much for that questions that formed in the book, because that book made huge imprint on my spiritual life. And that was the book where I felt first personality of Srila Prabhupada, because you can just feel him through the pages somehow. It's just magic in the book. And I wanted to ask a question regarding this book. What was the question that was most important for you? And what was the question that was most pleasing or most interesting for Srila Prabhupada?
Well, I can't say what was most interesting for him, but I can say what the most dramatic moment in the book was. Do all of you know the Govinda prayers in the morning sung by Jamuna? So Jamuna, who sadly passed on some years ago, was there. And after I was spoken to Prabhupada for a couple of days, and it was a Gaur Purnima, which means the full moon night and Lord Chaitanya's appearance day. So it was the evening, and there was a little generator, a little light from the pandal, but it was mostly moonlight. And Yamuna, who is all heart. Anybody wants to just read her biography, make sure you have nothing else to do because you can't put it down. And beautiful 2-volume biography. And Yamuna's every bit as beautiful as the book describes. So she came up to me with tears in her eyes, tears. And she said to me, "You are so fortunate. Prabhupada's giving you so much time." And there's tears in her eyes. And she says, she just basically love-bombed me. And before that, I was asking questions theoretically. Well, what about this and what about that? A very mental platform. Immediately, she yanked me out of my head and put me in my heart. And I said, oh my God. And as she walked away, I went out into the rice paddy behind the tents, and I just collapsed and started crying. Which, you know, I wasn't much of a crier then, but I started crying. Because I said, my God, this is all theoretical, but you know, I may have to become one of these odd fellows. And it just struck me so heavy. So the next day, Prabhupada called me in his room. And this is in the book now, this part. And Prabhupada said, so, some questions. I said, I have to leave today. I have to go back to my teaching. And Prabhupada said, don't talk L-E-A-V-E, and spelt it. Talk L-I-V-E. So don't talk leave, live. And I said, you want me to stay longer? And he goes, yes. And I said, okay, I'll stay. And then he said the 2 most magical words I've ever heard in my life. Good boy. You know how you have a dog and you say, good boy? So at that moment, I understood I was Prabhupada's dog. Because he said it like I would say to my pet dog, good boy. So he said that good boy to me. And I understood at that moment that I had become his disciple. It was just a matter of time for everything to work out. So it was a very magical moment, totally induced by the wonderful heart of Jamuna. Now I was able, very fortunately, to several times thank Jamuna for that moment before she left, and talk to her about it, and saying, because you know Jamuna so well from London side. And did I describe Jamuna accurately?
Yep. Absolutely lovely soul.
Yeah.
Lovely soul.
Yeah. And so she's the one that got me. So that was the most dramatic moment for me in the book. Then there were different questions and different topics. To the devotees, the most dramatic moment didn't even get on my radar. But when I got back to America, apparently, and I went to the temple, the devotees had all heard about it. That was before internet, but somehow they heard very quickly about this. A few months later, I got back to America. And I had asked Prabhupada a question. Well, I can see that you're above karma. You know, I can see you're liberated soul above karma. But you get sick. How is that possible? Because I didn't understand karma. Karma is as you should sow, you shall reap. And how would somebody who's a pure devotee get sick? So I asked the question very innocently, and then Prabhupada gave the answer, and I said, oh, that's fine. But that was, as we say, the shot heard around the world. Because Prabhupada said, because my disciples sometimes are nonsense, and then I'm taking their karma because they don't follow. He said, I've taken too many disciples. That is it. It says in Shastra, don't take too many. But to save these people, I've taken too many. And because I've taken too many, sometimes I'll get sick. So he gave that answer to me. I said, oh, that makes sense. But to devotees, that was the most shocking moment for devotees. From Prabhupada's point of view, of course, I can't say, but he was having a really good time. He liked debates. He liked questions. Well, he had one servant who was a really wonderful, wonderful servant of his. His best servant, I think, Shruti Kirti, in terms of just taking care of every one of Prabhupada's needs. So Prabhupada was a debater. So sometimes he would argue, like from the atheist point of view, and ask Shruti to defend it, or he'd argue from the devotee point of view and ask somebody to take the role of an atheist. So he'd try arguing with Shruti, and Shruti would just agree with it, whatever Prabhupada said. So finally Prabhupada said, you're no fun. Yeah. Okay, I think it's 1 minute to 8. We're not going to keep anyone from Prasadam. So with that, you're a wonderful temple, a beautiful building. I haven't been back to Plainfield since many, many years, and Edison. So since the 60s, so it's very good to be here, though it looks a little different than when I was here. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Brahmatirtha Prabhu ki jai.
So let's thank Brahmatirtha Prabhu and Khandedi Prabhu with a loud Haribol! 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 We have a few announcements. You can leave. Today's Sunday feast is sponsored by a few families. Ravi Dunadula Prabhu in memory of his father, Dunadula Rajendra Prasad Prabhu. Is he here? He can come forward. Ravi Prabhu. Ajay Prabhu and Anubha Mataji and family in memory of their parents. Srimati Sudha Agarwal, Dr. J.P. Gupta, Srimati Lalita Gupta. Ajay Prabhu, please come. Krishna Prabhu. No. Please give the. They have just sponsored the feast, so you can give them.